In this video, I'm gonna share with you how you can break your language barrier and start speaking a foreign language, even though you are afraid of it or you may simply don't know how to do it. Firstly, I'm gonna share with you my experience, so you guys know that you are not alone with it. And secondly, I will give you clear and practical steps that you can follow to get rid of this language barrier and simply gain the skill of speaking a foreign language. One more thing before we start. On this channel, I talk about life-changing ideas, personal development, and language learning. So if you are interested in those topics, hit the subscribe button because this is the way you can see more videos like this in the future. With that being said, let's start with today's topic. This is my story. I used to live in Germany for 2 years, and when I first moved there, my German was very basic. I could obviously speak English because people speak English very well in Germany, but somehow from the beginning I knew that I had to start interacting with other people and have some basic German conversations because otherwise I wouldn't progress and I wouldn't learn anything. So it was in a way my resolution to always try wherever I went, even though I didn't know all the necessary words. I remember many situations in the shop, in the restaurant, at the station or at the university when I prepared my questions or basically what I wanted to say, and then I didn't understand the answer. And it was even worse when the answer was actually an open-ended question. I've experienced many misunderstandings and also funny situations. At the beginning, I struggled a lot with German. I remember many situations when I started a conversation and then I didn't really know how to continue because I didn't have enough words and I couldn't really express myself. I had a feeling that maybe I would never learn it and maybe I would never be able to understand what other people were saying to me. So if this is something that you are going through right now, I want you to remember that this is just a feeling. And I'm sure that if you put enough effort and you spend enough time, you will be able to speak your target language sooner or later. So it's inevitable, but if you want it to happen sooner than later, I've prepared for you 5 simple and practical steps that you can follow to gain that skill of speaking and finally stop being afraid of it. Let's get started. Step number 1. Don't let self-sabotage stop you. One of the most popular myths that stops people from speaking another language is that they think that speaking a foreign language is an ability that people either have or don't. But if we think about it in a different way and we realize that speaking a foreign language is a skill, not an ability, we will naturally understand that this is something that we can work on and this is something that we can develop. It may seem for you that this is something impossible right now, but I think that believing that something is achievable is a real game changer when it comes to language learning. Step number 2, always try. So point number 2 is to make up your mind to always try. Even though you don't know every single word, even though you don't know all grammar rules, and even though you may be afraid of it, just try. Create a habit of always trying. And whenever you have an opportunity to speak another language, do so. And if you don't, create one. This is something that I did, and this simple habit of always trying helped me a lot, not only in language learning, but also I've learned how to feel comfortable in the situations that probably I shouldn't feel comfortable. Right now, I am definitely less afraid to get out of my comfort zone, so I can say that it's definitely worth it. We can actually call the whole learning process an uncomfortable situation where we are constantly exposed to some new information or environment. That's why it is so important to find a way to get used to it. Step number 3. Prepare before speaking. Can you really prepare before speaking? Yes, you can. But I cannot know what the other person gonna say. But you can predict also that. So you can prepare what you're gonna say, and you can also try to imagine what the other person gonna answer, and then you can prepare also your response. And this is the way you can keep the conversation going as a beginner. We all know the saying, fake it to make it, and I think that the idea of it can help us in improving our speaking abilities. So at first we should fake it, and I understand faking here as preparing and believing in ourselves before we will make it for real. So translate useful expressions and learn them by heart, and later in the conversation act as they are natural for you. So for that you will probably need to check the correct pronunciation and repeat them a few times. I think that this is a good strategy if you don't really know how to start talking to strangers on the street, or you don't really know how you can keep the conversation going during your language classes. Step number 4. Talk to people daily. As I said before, speaking is a skill, so if you don't practice it daily or systematically, you won't develop it. I know that it's so much easier to practice speaking if you live abroad, but if you don't, there are still many ways to do it. Firstly, you can find a language partner online. Secondly, you can translate some useful everyday expressions to your target language. And thirdly, you can even talk to yourself and prepare presentations about the topics that you are interested in. So, not living abroad shouldn't be an excuse for you. Step number 5. Try to remember new words and expressions. So, during the conversation with somebody, pay attention to what this other person is saying to you and try to remember new words and expressions. You can check them later if you don't fully understand them, and the longer they will stay in your mind, the better, because it shows that you can already remember them, so then you can maybe reuse them in your next conversation. The thing is that if you heard something once in the conversation, it is very likely that you're gonna hear this word or expression again, because in everyday conversations, people mostly use the same words and repeat them very often. So this is also a good way to distinguish the most useful vocabulary from more sophisticated words that you will probably won't need at the beginning of your language learning journey. But still, any word can be important. It all depends on the situation and on what you are trying to explain. Anyways, I'm really curious if you have ever experienced any funny situations or misunderstandings when you were trying to explain something in the foreign language. Share those funny stories with me in the comment section. I think it's gonna be really interesting to read. If you like this video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also check out my other videos, for example this one about daily motivation. If you feel like you lack a daily motivation to study, I think it's gonna be definitely useful for you.